For 3,300 years, Neferuiten has stayed hidden from Egyptology's prying eyes. An Egyptian archaeologist has claimed that they have discovered the mummy of Queen Nefertiti. If the claim is validated, this will provide an answer to one of the most perplexing mysteries of the ancient world. Let's find out, with the help of a secret world, what is the absolute truth. Let's start revealing. First, let's talk about who exactly Nefertiti was, the queen of ancient Egypt. As a member of the 18th dynasty in the 1300s BCE, Nefertiti lived in ancient Egypt during a time of immense wealth and success in the New Kingdom. This time period is considered by some to have been the golden age of ancient Egypt. Nefertiti's reign occurred during this time. She was married to Pharaoh Akhenaten, who some people believe to be the pharaoh of the Exodus. Together, the two of them are said to have led a religious revolution, transforming the religion of Egypt to monotheism and worshipping the sun disk known as Aten. However, this was not the case after Akhenaten passed away. In the Valley of the Kings in Luxor, former Minister of Tourism Zahi Hawass was given a tour and discussing the murals that were recently refurbished on the tomb wall of boy pharaoh King Tutankhamun. After that, many people began to believe that Nefertiti actually ruled Egypt under the name Neferuiten before the rise of Pharaoh Tutankhamun, now known as King Tut. But this is something that historians are still debating today. According to Hawass, who is speaking for himself, she governed for at least 3 years under the name Smenkhare. Despite this, she is considered one of the most well-known female personalities in ancient Egypt, ranking among the likes of Nefertari, Cleopatra, and Hatshepsut. Where exactly is it that Queen Nefertiti is said to have been buried? According to Hawass, Nefertiti is most likely to be one of the bodies that can be found in the enormous ancient Egyptian tomb complex that is referred to as the Valley of the Kings. In particular, Hawass was quoted as saying this to the Spanish publication The Independent. The two mummies in question have been given the designations KV-21A and KV-21B for the time being. He is very certain that Nefertiti and her daughter Ankhsenamun are represented by these two people. In October, we will be able to reveal the finding of the mummy of Ankhsenamun, Tutankhamun's wife, and her mother Nefertiti. Hawass said in an interview with The Independent, Ankhsenamun was Tutankhamun's wife. Nefertiti was Ankhsenamun's mother. On November 4th of 1922, the bones of Tutankhamun were found for the first time in a tomb that had previously been suggested as a possible hiding location for Nefertiti on multiple occasions. This tomb was located in the Valley of the Kings. A research study published in 2015 under the title The Burial of Queen Nefertiti made reference to high-resolution photographs that were thought to show the position of concealed doors within the tomb. This theory was later supported by distinct lines that were observed on the ceiling of the tomb. These lines led researchers to believe that one of the rooms was actually a corridor that was sealed off by a false wall. However, as new technical developments continue to impact the way archaeology is practiced, our convictions on the existence of this secret chamber continue to shift. In the year 2020, the findings of the ground-penetrating radar survey that was conducted in the area close to Tutankhamun's tomb were published in the journal Nature. Initial reports stated that they had discovered a previously unknown corridor-like space a few meters from the burial chamber. This may explain why King Tut's tomb is relatively small for a member of the Egyptian royal family when compared to other royal tombs in Egypt. This most recent rush of interest regarding the location of Nefertiti also centered around the tomb of King Tut. Tutankhamun's successor, is shown in cartouches within the tomb, bearing the youthful pharaoh, who was only 19 years old when he passed away. Researchers believe that these cartouches may be covering up an earlier figure. Nicholas Reeves, a former curator in the Department of Egyptian Antiquities at the British Museum, believes that it may have been painted over a similar cartouche that showed Tutankhamun bearing Nefertiti. According to what Reeves told The Guardian, I can now show that under the cartouches of are cartouches of Tutankhamun himself, proving that that scene originally showed Tutankhamun bearing his predecessor, Nefertiti. It is unlikely that Tutankhamun's tomb would have included such particular ornamentation. A careful examination of ice cartridges reveals clear, underlying remnants of an earlier name, that of Tutankhamun. The study's author said, this sequence depicted Tutankhamun carrying out the burial ritual for the tomb's original occupant, his immediate predecessor Nefertiti, when it was first filmed. It is possible that what we know to be Tutankhamun's tomb is actually only one stratum of a much larger funeral residence that was erected to house Nefertiti and then converted to make a place for the king following his untimely death. This would be the case if it were confirmed that this theory is correct. Surprisingly, this is not the only piece of Nefertiti-related information that is making the rounds. Zahi Hawass, who served as Egypt's Minister of State for Antiquities Affairs before Mohammed Ibrahim, has also shared his thoughts on the recent discoveries of numerous unidentified mummies, one of which he believes may be that of Nefertiti. Even though this find is the fourth one claimed to have been made in the past 7 years, it comes at a fortuitous moment as the anniversary of the discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb is coming up in just 1 month. In spite of the fact that it is prudent to exercise caution in the face of advances that have the potential to rewrite the textbooks, we ought to know one way or the other very quickly. Some researchers believe that Queen Nefertiti co-ruled with her husband when they were both alive. According to a report that was published in Newsweek, an archaeologist has made the assertion that he has discovered the mummy of Nefertiti, who was the wife of King Akhenaten and the Queen of Egypt. Nefertiti was famed for her beauty. This assertion was made by Zahi Hawass, who is an authority in ancient Egypt and is currently conducting an investigation into a mummy. Mr. Hawass was formerly the Minister of State for Antiquities Affairs, but he has spent the better part of the last 2 decades excavating ancient graves instead. In addition to this, he is making preparations for an exhibition that will be called Daughters of the Nile and will center in women who lived in pharaonic Egypt. The excavation of the tomb of Queen Nefertiti, which is located on the west bank of Luxor, was reportedly begun by Mr. Hawass and his archaeological team on December 9th of 2021, as reported by Archaeologists. During her reign over Egypt, which spawned from 3070 BC to 1330 BC, Nefertiti presided over an age of unparalleled opulence. After the death of her husband, some people think that Queen Nefertiti took over as the sole ruler of Egypt. One person who holds this belief is Mr. Hawass. We already have DNA from the mummies of the 18th dynasty, ranging from Akhenaten to Amenhotep II or III. Mr. Hawass continued, I am confident that I will reveal which of the 2 unnamed mummies could be Nefertiti. That's all for the video today. If you want to see more videos like this one, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel.